Boom, baby.
Look at us.
Hey, who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Not me. Okay, so this is our very first, this isn't even an episode. This is just going to be a clip specifically for YouTube. But we were sitting here, we're getting ready to launch and have a couple of episodes of the Who's Your Agent podcast based out of Vegas. We got your boy Jace coming on a little bit later today. It's weird how schedules work out. Like, we've been trying to get him on the show for a month.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to get anything. And all of a sudden he's like, dude, I got an hour down here in Vegas. I'm like, okay, bet. So we're set up. We're super stoked. I'm going to make sure I don't kick that again. That was loud. And we got Tim Flynn here. Now, if you guys remember Tim was on our episode. What episode was that?
It was my second episode, so I think that's episode
12 or 11 or 12, yeah.
Yeah, like episode 11 or 12. And Tim holds the record for getting the most hate from anybody so far on TikTok. This clip went viral for a couple of reasons, I think. I think number one, because there was a lot of people that misunderstood the clip, like first things first. They didn't, and I wish that we got a lot of traction on the episode, but I wish more people would have gone back and watched the episode, because I think that the message that you were sharing was super important, especially for anybody that's made money really quickly out of the gate that just kind of starts spending. And we see it day in and day out within our industry and across the board in different industries where you can make money quickly, I think. And not enough people talk about the reality of what happens when you start making money quickly, and the lack of care, the lack of meaning that I think that money has originally in your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so let's roll the clip really quick, and then we're gonna get Tim's opinion, kind of where he thinks, because TikTok, I was shocked. TikTok was very divided on this clip. There was a lot of people that thought you were a real piece of shit from the clip. There's a lot of people that thought you were spot on from the clip, and so I kind of want to get your take on it after we watch this.
Yeah.
Again, we finally broke 802,000 views on this.
That was the last time I checked.
Yeah. All right, Jonah, roll it.
She saw it and said, why the hell am I paying half of rent? That was number one.
You had her paying half the rent. I think that was...
But again, it was a misconception. I didn't have any association with the money I was making. So I just went through life thinking, oh yeah, well, if we're living together, there's two of us, you pay half, I pay half. If we go to the grocery store, you pay half, I pay half. So Melanie, who was in school, who hasn't started her own business, who has, there's things that she hasn't done that at that point I had, was teaching me these incredible lessons through communication about you have to do something with this money, and it wasn't, Tim, go invest this money back in your business. It was, I can't believe that you're going to let this sit here and do nothing.
Well, and all of a sudden, whatever car you were driving was more offensive to her than
everything
that you, because she was killing herself to try to make it work.
Yeah. And let's put it into perspective. It was $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
So she was paying $500. I was paying $500.
Lol. I understand where people are coming from if they only watch the clip.
Yeah. So give us a little bit of context on the clip then. And I don't want to say defend yourself, because I don't think you have anything to defend yourself from. I think you were doing the best that you had with the information that you currently had. That was how long ago, though?
5 years ago.
So 5 years ago, obviously you're more mature. Obviously you're a different person than you were back then. I don't even care what your approach would be now, but what advice would you give for somebody that's in your shoes in that situation?
I think that it's all situational, so none of this is like advice, but how I would have done it going back is all by percentages.
And that's what a lot of people on TikTok said, right?
Yeah.
If you make X amount of the percentage of money in the relationship, you should be responsible for X amount of the bills, which I think makes the most sense to me too.
Yeah, 100%, because it's just a percentage is equal, right? That's bottom line. Whether they're paying $100 and you're paying $10,000, it's the exact same percentage, so it carries the same exact deficit financially to both parties.
So then how would you approach it now? Right? Would you go with the percentage approach, or would you just say, okay, Mel, finish school, I got you, and then as soon as you're done, then we can start to figure out what this is?
Yeah, so Mel is...
And I think the continuation of that question is going to be, now what would you be doing with that money?
Yeah. So two-part. Okay, so the first part, what would I do now, or what am I doing now regarding like a financial situation with my partner?
Yeah.
So Mel is incredibly independent. There are times when she is insanely successful because she works on a commission basis as well now. And there are times when I'm extremely successful. So we have really good months together. We have really bad months together. And so our understanding is just that we got each other, right? There is no communication about it. There's no talk about it. We just know internally we have each other's back.
Joint bank account?
No.
Okay.
Nope. So the way that we run and operate that is if she feels that she wants to pay for something to feel like that independence and stuff, she goes and does it. And if I want to go do that and have that independence for me, I go and do it. But at any given time, I could quit my job and we would be great. And she could quit hers and we would be great, right? And there's no intent to do that, but it's the feeling of knowing we got each other's back.
It's a true partnership.
100%.
So then now,
we're as equal as you could possibly imagine in so many different ways. And it's like way too complex to get into it, but there's never a moment where I feel like I'm doing everything, paying for everything. And there's never a feeling on her side of he's doing everything, paying for everything, or I'm doing everything, paying for everything. Tim needs to step up.
Well, and I think that was a really interesting take that a lot of the comments were going after, saying like, no, you do you, like you did exactly correct. And I think if you could go back, you would have done it differently. And I don't think that the best answer is 50-50 at times. I don't like, especially the really interesting part that a lot of people kept going back to in the comment section was talking about, okay, well, if you're married, that's this, if you're doing, and partnerships never work if you're nickel and diming each other, I don't think.
Yeah, so there's the theory that it's 50-50, right? Like you give me 50% effort, I give you 50% effort. But what I just said, if you like just rewind and listen again, 50% effort. So I firmly believe that it has to be 100. If she needs me, if she needs that additional 20 because she's operating at an 80% right now, mentally, physically, financially, whatever it is, I need to make up that extra 20. It is what it is.
Would you say your relationship's in a better spot than it was when you were then in the time when you were talking about in that clip?
Yeah, our relationship is probably the most mature part of my life. It's probably the most secure, the most stable, the most fluid. Everything about it is so much more in balance and in like.
We use the word harmony a lot in that episode.
Yeah. Yeah, everything about that, my relationship with Mel right now is just like on point. Like,
so you talked a little bit about it in that clip, talked about reinvesting that money back into your business. What does that look like now?
Yeah, there's so many ways to do it. I'm at a convention in Vegas. You were at this same convention in Vegas, so that's an investment, right? It's not cheap to come out here. It's not cheap to stay at nice hotels, but it's all for the benefit of my business and my mental state and my ability to coach people. I'm in leadership now, so there's no excuses for me if I have to be able to answer the questions that get asked. So that's one part. I'm looking into hiring coaches. I've hired coaches in the past, but now I'm leveling up, right? There's certain things that you can learn from certain people and then you go a different route. So I'm leaning towards getting into that, leaning in towards, I'm getting pitched on podcast ideas, YouTube ideas. And so a lot of it is back into the business, but also I invest in the stock market heavily. I invest in rentals heavily and, wholesaling and stuff like that. So there's a lot of real estate related things that I'm doing to invest in my personal financial future as well as my business's financial future.
I remember the very first year that I broke six figures, and I got technically at that time I was doing mortgages, and so I was paid as a W-2 employee. And so I got my W-2 at the end of the year, and it was just over 100,000. And I looked at it and I remember thinking, holy shit, I don't have anything to show for that.
Yeah.
And it was a depressing, scary feeling that I think a lot of people in our industry find themselves in at some point.
Absolutely.
What piece of advice would you give to somebody that finds himself in that position? Like where it's kind of a scary, daunting task to quote unquote invest back into your business until you get started. What would you say is a good first step for somebody that's like, okay, I got to stop playing games. I got to start reinvesting back into my business.
Yeah, I think in regard to spending money in general, just across the board, you've made it once, you can make it again. So don't forget that. And it's always nervous. Like I always get nervous spending money still. No matter how much money I make, I'm always going to be nervous spending a lot of it. But the amount of value that can be added by spending your money correctly or back into your business or with a coach or a mentor or whatever it is, whether you want the nice car or the nice, like whatever it is, you've made it once, you can make it again. And then personally, what I coach my agents on, what I coach myself on and talk to my family about is you can spend 10% of your paycheck or your income at any given point without feeling bad about it. And that came straight from my financial advisor. I was able to save my first $100,000. And he said, okay, theoretically you can go spend 10 grand, right? That's 10%. But you can't spend 10 grand because then you'll have 90, right? You can save up to 110, then go spend that 10. Steve Harvey, great example.
Yeah.
He made his first million. He became a millionaire. He got his first $1 million payday, and I think his bank account read like $1,007,000. All of his friends were like, let's go party, dude. This is, congratulations, huge success. Well, he goes out and parties, drops 40, 50 grand,
And all of a sudden he's not a millionaire anymore.
wakes up in the morning, and his friend looks at him and he's like, looks like you're not a millionaire anymore, right? So you just have to be conscious about it. But when my financial advisor, somebody who handles my money and is helping me grow wealth into retirement and whatever I want, tells me that I can, without any worry in the world, spend 10% of my income, I'm going to go spend 10% of it. So that's the rule I live by now.
Do you have a percentage that you reinvest back into your business?
Everything else.
Yeah.
So like when my bills are right, and there's times when I'm just sitting on cash, or there's times when I'm like, let's go do this, or you know what, this is all
Yeah,
gonna
but
be for fun.
I think when you're in that mood, at least when I'm in that mood, I'm always looking for the next thing to, I don't want to say spend it on, but like I am always looking for something to, that's what all of this is, right? Like
Yeah.
It's just a reinvestment back into my business.
Yeah, so I spend 10% on fun, right? And then I have my bills. So I have a monthly budget where there's my fixed expenses, my variable expenses. I try and be very diligent with that to know where my money's at. And then all the rest is going into the stock market, or, like every week you could spend $2,000 to betterment.com and just have, invest in the S&P 500, right? There's all that stuff. And then everything that's left over should be invested back into your business. Why not?
So at this convention that we're at here, it's Agent Academy, Bill Pipes, John Cheplack, great group of guys like that. The stuff they've been dropping so far for the last day and a half has been amazing. The stat that they were throwing around is that NAR is saying that 30% of agents won't be licensed in 18 months, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you coaching people to drop that money within their own business so that they're your agents specifically, so that they're not in that 30%?
There was a gentleman on stage, and unfortunately I can't remember his name. And when he first got into the business, a lot of what we work with is brand new agents, right? Who may not have financial backing to step into this career. The cheapest way to build a business and where you'll find your greatest return on investment is prospecting, like cold calling. And this guy shared a story. He's like, I got into it. I had no money. And I was just figuring out, like, I could go spend money here. But my largest return on investment is the investment of my time. So if you're not to the point where you can go hire a coach for $100,000 a year, right, or whatever it is, the largest ROI you'll ever have is if you pick up the phone and call someone, because all it takes is time. It's not money.
Well, I think then the people that take that a step further is the people that invest money into their prospecting
100%.
and into their lead generation.
And it's an evolution. I was just having a conversation with one of our agents that came with us to this, and it's the shiny object syndrome, where they're like chasing the next best lead or the next best thing.
Easiest, quickest, yeah.
Lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But the ability to build and master something comes from the compounding effect that you by consistently taking action upon one thing over a period of time, you will become a master at it. Yet if you are constantly going after the new lead or the new lead source that came in, or, someone got a lead from an open house, I'm going to go do an open house now. Like, they got a cold call listing. Like, I'm going to go cold call. None of it will work, and you'll remain the exact same forever. You have to pick what you're good at. So prospecting, right? Or cold calling, for example. It starts with $0. It starts with picking up the freaking phone. And then over time, as you get good at it and you start bringing in money from that, then you can start reinvesting into it. You can pick up Mojo Dialer. You can pick up all these different things that'll help you be more efficient.
But you have to start before you can know what any of those are for your business.
Yeah, and how are you ever supposed to know if cold calling works if you never pick up the phone?
Okay, well, we appreciate you, Tim. This is episode 1 of Clip Review. I don't know what we're going to call it, but like this is great. We've been wanting to sit down with you for a while now, so we appreciate you taking 15 minutes. Let's go grab some lunch.
Absolutely. And hey, last thing I'll say is if you have not listened to the entire podcast,
go listen to the episode,
because you'll get far more context behind that video. Of course, like I go home and people are like feeling indifferent about it, that it went viral, and it's like, oh yeah, that kind of does suck that video went viral. All publicity is good publicity as long as there's a way to back it up. And fun fact, there's a whole 54-minute podcast to back it up. So come at me if you want, boy.
There we go.
Thanks, guys.